Hampton Town Board to order on the 16th day of November, 2023. Please rise if you're able and join us for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We will do a moment of silence today as we start with some sad news. Three beloved individuals recently passed away, and four if you include Brian Williams. But we've received word of the death of Bill Masterson, former Southampton Town Highway Superintendent, who died on November 14th at the age of 80. Bill was Highway Superintendent for 20 years, first elected to the position as of January 1st, 1990, and continuing through December 31st of 2009. His wife Laura predeceased him. He is survived by their three children, William III, Ellie, and Kathleen, and two grandchildren. Visitation will be Monday, November 20th, 3 to 6 at O'Connell Funeral Home, right here on Little Plains Road in Southampton, and the funeral mass will be Tuesday, November 21st at 11 a.m. at Sacred Heart's Roman Catholic Church in Southampton. Also of note, other members of long-standing service in the town's extended family have passed away in just the past few days. Former town Chief Building Inspector Paul J. Houlihan, former Chief Building Inspector Paul J. Houlihan passed away unexpectedly on Tuesday, November 13th, at the age of 68. He served most of his career in the town's building department, eventually rising to the position of Chief Building Inspector, before resigning from town service in 2001 after 20 years. He then joined the Village of West Hampton Beach as their Chief Building Inspector for an additional 18 years. Services for Chief Building Inspector Paul Houlihan will be visitation Saturday, November 18th from 2 to 6 at R.J. O'Shea Funeral Home at 94 East Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. There will be a private cremation. And lastly, Detective Sergeant retired Randy Hintz. Detective Sergeant Hintz passed away on Saturday, November 11th. He was 68 years old. Served the people of Southampton as a member of the Southampton Town Police Department for 22 years prior to his retirement in 2003. Services for Detective Sergeant Hintz are as follows. Visitation on Friday, November 17th from 6 to 9 at the Alexander Rothwell Funeral Home, 6447 Route 25A in Wading River. Firematic services will be at 7:30 p.m. Funeral services and burial will take place Saturday, November 18th at 10:15 a.m. at the Wading River Cemetery, 2201 North Wading River Road in Wading River. We offer our deepest sympathy to the family and friends of these men with the passing of these dedicated civil servants, and we join together in their memory in silence, sending our prayers to their loved ones. Let's join together. Please be seated. It's been a tough week for the town.
Yeah.
All too young. So Madam Clerk, would you read the special meeting notice followed by the roll call?
Members of the Town Board, special Town Board meeting, Thursday, November 16th, 2023 at 1 p.m. Please be advised that pursuant to Section 62 of Town Law, a special Town Board meeting will be held both in person in the Town Board Meeting Room, Southampton Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, New York, and via video conferencing on Thursday, November 16th, 2023 at 1 p.m. for the purpose of considering the following: any resolutions amending the 2024 preliminary budget, Authorize increases in the maximum amount to be expended annually in the Town of Southampton Special Districts. Adopt the 2024 to 2028 capital program and 2024 capital budget. Adopt the 2024 final operating budget. Jay Schneiderman, Supervisor, Town of Southampton, dated November 13th, 2023. Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Martell.
Present.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Scivone.
Present.
All right, thank you. So we'll begin, and we have the assistance of our controller, Dorothy Godlewski and Kathleen from that office, if there are any budgetary questions as well. But we're going to start with public portion. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in public portion by the town board? All right, we will go online, as this is a hybrid meeting. If you wish to be heard in public portion, please click the raise hand icon found usually at the bottom of the screen.
There's no hands.
All right, I'll make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, were there walk-ons? Or no, they're already in the packet, no walk-ons, okay. So we can then go to the packet. Let me first, before we get to the resolutions, thank Dorothy and her staff for their assistance and all the town department heads, and Frank as well in my office, for working on the budget for next year. It's a tremendous amount of work. It, sets the amount of taxation for the following year based on, our projection of expenses and revenues. And, we try to stay within the tax cap, which we have done, and we try to be responsible to our taxpayers by trying to keep taxes as low as possible, yet we want to provide good services, like we are doing at the police department by adding 4 new officers, so, and a few other critical places as well. So let me start by reading Resolution 1372 of 2023. This amends the 2024 preliminary capital budget for estimated roll-forward amounts. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scivone. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is approved. Resolution 1373 of 2023 amends the 2024 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for Sun TV and town council positions.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scivone. I think the board is all familiar with this. It has to do, it's a slight change to the original budget in terms of the cost centers involved with the Director of Education and Government Cable Access, and bringing it back to Public Information Officer, at least for portions of the year. All right, so I'll call the vote. All in favor? Oh, sorry.
I had a question on the title, says town council positions. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so there's an individual who's working, and Kathleen, if you want to come up too, who's working at Sun TV, who is in a legislative aid title. And I just simply, when I had first prepared the budget, kept that in the legislative aid title assigned into the council office, also understanding that this person was going to be retiring, so that we would have a full year with the new station manager. But based on comments I've heard from a number of people, this resolution changes that. It goes from the town council office back to Sun TV.
Correct. We just reallocated the position. We made
It's just the move. That's
Correct.
what I was trying to link it to a resolution.
The position in the town council becomes vacant, and we're reallocating and changing the title from the Director of Education, Government, Cable Access to public, back to the Public Information Officer, and reallocated that position back to the Sun TV.
Yeah, because we've been shorthanded in the town council office for
There's no
well
financial
over a year.
impact. There's,
Yeah. Okay.
this is just the reallocation of positions and making the vacant position back to the town council.
Right, and when that person, it's anticipated that person's going to retire mid-year, if the town board wishes to change that then to a station manager position and hire with that civil
Absolutely.
service
Abolish that
title,
position and create a different one, correct.
there'll be available funds to do that. So.
And we also have changes in CTV that need to be addressed, and that's why I'm supporting this, to have this person on board for whatever months of the year and beginning part of next year so that we can have a smoother changeover.
And a,
Yeah.
to transition. All right, thank you.
All right, so thank you, Dorothy. All right, so there's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved. All right.
Town-
Go ahead, Cindy.
Town Board Resolution 1374 of 2023, amend 2024 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for legislative positions.
So a
Second.
Second by Councilman McNamara. On the motion, so I received an awful lot of requests from an awful lot of departments and individuals for raises. You know, this is a challenging year with inflation and other things, to try to stay within the tax cap. And, you know, I had to make some very difficult decisions, and so I did not program any raises of the dozens and dozens that were requested. It really is up to this board. I'm not gonna single out an individual here or there. It's nothing personal. I'm sure everybody is worthy of raises, and everybody is doing a great job, but because I had so many, and now we have a new incoming board, these things can certainly be done next year. But you know, I'm not gonna be supporting any of the changes in salaries. I just don't wanna pick and choose, so. That's my personal position. And in this case, you know, the individual is certainly worthy and does a great job. There are a lot of other people as well who are worthy of raises.
Well, I'd just like to point out that there's extenuating circumstances within the council office where we've had an individual working alone in a job that's really designed for two or more people. And, you know, to me, that's a unique situation. And she's
But you're
done
not
it well.
gonna lower it when.
No, I know,
when
this
you have
is a
full
difficult
office.
decision to make because of that, you know. You have
I'm assuming
personal awareness of what that person has contributed to helping the council office in particular. So, you know, it's a very difficult decision to make. And
If there had been a way to give her a stipend mid-year, I think we should have done that then. You know, so to give her this, which I consider less than half of what she deserves anyway, it makes sense to move this forward and continue to pay her at that rate moving on.
For me, I'd like to echo some of the sentiments of the supervisor as far as raises outside of the budget. We think we've received a number of requests for raises in a variety of departments, and so I'm not going to be supporting raises at this time. And as far as the council office, yeah, there were names brought forward, and, you know, the council members or some council members, you know, wanted this situation to be what it is, as it currently is. So, you know, it could have been resolved, or, you know, help could have been brought in, but we decided not to do that.
Yeah, I think we all agreed that to wait till after the election, and that's what you're going to do. So you can pick your person after this, but I think this individual has done one hell of a job for the four of us, and she deserves a raise.
Yeah, I could say that though about so many people.
And we do, and unfortunately, there's gonna be others in this packet that I feel the same about, and, you know, we're not doing enough for the people in the middle brackets as far as livable wages, and this is one place we could start.
Well, you know, we have increased longevity, we've shortened the workday, we've added to base pay thousands of dollars. We've lowered insurance contributions. We have done a lot for the employees to try understanding the high cost of living in the area, to make life a little bit better for them.
A little bit
So
better, but we still fall behind other towns, that's the problem.
I think we're pretty competitive. But, you know, but this is singling out an individual and not helping everybody in the same bracket. So, listen, it's not gonna hold it against those who support this. Again, it's not personal. The individual does an excellent job, but I just can't pick one person out of the entire workforce of so many people who've requested salary increases.
And it wasn't just
Puts
them,
me in
it
a
was
bad
their
position.
department heads who requested salary increases for them.
And,
So
yeah.
to say no to those folks,
And
you know,
it was only a year or two ago where I did support an increase for this individual in terms of salary.
Because this individual took on more duties.
it was doing those more duties before, but yes, more of as an office manager, and we found a way to increase her salary,
To take on those extra duties.
yes. To take on those extra duties. So, anyway,
Well, I have a problem because I do have personal knowledge, and maybe I should just recuse myself or abstain, but I don't want to, because I have, for me, it's a matter of conscience. It's somebody I've had a long-term experience with over my term, that I've been here, who's gone out of the way and above and beyond. And it's very hard for me conscientiously to say no to that when I've seen how much she's done.
I understand.
And that's a problem, and I'm
I
wrestling
understand
with
that.
it.
I mean, I have 3 incredible people in my office assisting me. They're all deserving of raises. They all do an incredible job for the people of this town, but it puts me in an awkward position now because, you know, I did not request additional money for any of them. They all deserve it. I'm not saying this person doesn't deserve it either, but those are the hard choices that we have to make.
Well,
as-
this was an extenuating circumstance. There was no replacement for the person who left that was decided upon, and all that work fell on this one person who, without objection, took that on the chin and kept going. And it's run flawlessly. And she's doing the job of two and a half people, basically.
And I will add that it's a very difficult position. It's a political position of sorts. And this person, you know, took me on, you know, and put politics aside and, I mean, worked seamlessly for me and for other people in the office and ended up working with 4 very different people for the last 6 months and took on all the extra duties and did so in a very professional manner and a very non-political manner. And, you know, like Rick had said, we wanted to give her a stipend for doing that, and we didn't. So this is a way to correct that.
Well, I understand your desire to reward her, but it does unfortunately put
So then
some of
vote
us in an awkward
So let's-
position.
So then vote no.
So, yeah, let's just
Well,
vote on it.
you're forcing-
Well,
You can
it's
argue
very,
it all
it's very
day.
uncomfortable to be put in this position in the first place, because I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. But I do have a conscience that this is important to this individual, given the personal circumstances, given the circumstances in our office, and what she has done.
And will do going forward.
And will be going forward, exactly. So, you know, I'm really upset because I am being asked to go against my conscience when I know this situation, you
Well, you do
know.
have a new board coming in January, but all I can say is there were so many worthy individuals that wanted raises.
Yeah, but I can't make, that's a
And-
false comparison.
And
I
we're,
have to do what I know.
we're picking one to get a raise. I mean, that's to say, it's really the majority of this board. If there's, you know, if the votes are there to do it, it shall be. I'm just saying that it's nothing personal, but I can't single out one individual when I know that there's so many other people.
And
who
I
also
understand
work.
that. It doesn't need to be justified.
And the other thing is that we've given other people raises over the course of the 2 years that I've been here. This just happens to be part of the budget and it happens to be singled out now. We have given other individuals raises in other departments because it was warranted. And I don't know why we're making an issue of this now simply because it's part of the budget.
Not an issue. It's a vote.
So let's vote.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna vote no.
And I'm going to vote no.
John?
He's a yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so it is approved on a 3-2 vote.
Thank
All right, we'll move on to 1375 of 2023, amends the 2024 preliminary budget for organizational charts. This is really just housekeeping. We want to make sure that the charts match what's actually in the budget, so. So there's just some minor corrections based on actual roles and responsibilities and number of individuals within those divisions. All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Resolution 1376 of 2023 authorizes increases in the maximum amount to be expended annually in the town of Southampton special districts.
Second?
seconded by Councilman Scavone.
On the motion, just a word. We addressed this the other night before we ended our public hearing, and there are 31 special districts in the town. There are 16 of them where we are collecting fewer taxes than we did last year.
Right, and you talked about because of the
Right.
buildup of surpluses.
Right,
And we're able to return that to the taxpayers. Okay, any other comments or questions or discussion? All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1377 of 2023 to amend the 2024 preliminary capital budget for townwide drainage.
Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. So on the motion, we budgeted for next year 1.3 million, 1.350000 for drainage.
450,000,
Thank you.
or 400,000, right?
The request was for 1,350,000.
Oh, the press was, okay.
We only, in the budget, preliminary budget, as it stands, we only gave highway 600,000 for drainage, 400,000, I'm sorry, for drainage.
400,000 was the
Correct.
number?
So by doing this resolution, we're bringing back to the amount that the highway requested.
Now, is this,
We would have to
new
bond for this
drains or
money.
drain?
So we do have Assistant
Maintenance.
Highway Superintendent Mark Brager here, he can explain.
Hey, Mark, because I know that some of these things may qualify for Community Preservation Fund, water quality. We've done some things through that. So, and can you give me, Dorothy, do you have what we budgeted for drainage in the current year?
For the 2023, I don't have that with me. I can go back and Kevin, can you look what we did? I don't remember.
So, but you're saying that in the proposed budget,
We gave them
400,000?
additional 400,000,
an
correct?
additional 400,000?
To whatever is left over from this budget in 2023. Because remember, capital, it's a multi-year budget, so whatever is not spent, it just rolls over to another year.
Oh, so there may be some money left over.
Right, I'm not sure, we will not know. That's why we have the roll forward
Yeah.
resolution, where we estimate what's gonna be spent or not. Remember, we're spending up
Hold
to
on, Mark.
December, so.
Mark, you want to add something?
So,
Dorothy, I'd like you to re-explain that in a moment. Go ahead, Mark.
we have two projects. I know you've gotten a lot of phone calls about Flanders, Long Neck Road, Royal Avenue, that area. That one project on Royal alone is gonna be about $350,000. That's all, the Clean Water Act, all that stuff, that's what we're trying to get accomplished there. At the end of Long Neck, we did try to do
So
some
wait, Mark,
paving.
on that project, there's money available, right? That was
No,
county money?
No, there's nothing available. We tried to get money from the county and we were denied.
Okay, because
Yeah.
there had been some money for that area that goes way back that I don't think
Yeah,
was
it-
spent.
I don't know where it went, but it wasn't there for us to try to use. And then we're also trying to do another clean water over at in Hampton Bays, Lighthouse Road and Foster Avenue, that curve there, that bend where it always really floods out terribly. So we're working on that, and there again too, that's over $300,000.
So when
Two
you say-
projects.
When you said, Mark, when you say clean water projects,
Mhm.
so they're really designed to improve the bay?
It's the runoff from the road goes through our system into the bay. Right now, we're not allowed to divert any water from the road into the bay. So this system will allow us to actually,
So
Be able
why
to-
couldn't the CPF water quality money be
we're
used for
trying to
that?
work with CPF. We are, but, you know, she hasn't guaranteed us anything yet, but she is also trying to do that. We have so many other drainage projects. We have so many culverts that need to be fixed. They're all $100,000+ projects here. It's just one
But
project
we do
drains.
that with CPF. Have you guys applied with the CPF board?
Yes, we have.
Yeah,
Yep,
so
we're
it
working
goes
on
in
Lighthouse
cycles.
right
So
now.
are you waiting for the results of?
We
of-
haven't, right now, Alwife Creek was the biggest,
Right.
where they matched and did all that. So we're still waiting to hear from, about Lighthouse Road right now. It's only it's a half, so if they give us 150, there's 150 that we'd have to come up with, obviously, you know that. But In the
Well,
future.
no, not necessarily. It depends on the application and
Okay.
what's stated in the application on the Water Quality Board. And,
Okay.
You know, they only review them 2 or 3 times a year as they, you know, if this is an urgency of
Right.
some kind, then, you know, we need to get that to the CPF office to talk about. so that
Jackie,
they
I
can-
gave her all the information about Lighthouse. Last Thursday, she had a meeting with the board.
Last Thursday, so,
Yeah, so
okay,
we're waiting to hear from
And now,
them.
Mark, these aren't the only two drainage issues in the
No,
town.
we have a few in Remsenburg, I mean, after Bridgehampton, a lot of culverts, there's so many areas that are just
Has the
antiquated.
CPF committee or the town board denied any of those CPF funding requests?
Nothing was denied yet, no.
Nothing, right.
Right.
So, I mean, it just makes sense if it can be paid for with CPF, if it qualifies, rather than having increased taxes to pay for it. That seems,
But
you know,
If we have,
seems appropriate if it qualifies for that. And you
Right.
don't have to have a 50% match. I don't know where you came up with that.
so, I don't know, that's in the workings, I don't know. Yeah,
Not,
you guys
not
will-
for, not for the CPF grants. But
Okay.
Dorothy, did you have the number that we were looking for?
But one other point is that with CPF, you also, by doing that, you qualify for grants that you might not normally be able to qualify as
Mhm.
well, because then it's a sanctioned project, and that's important to understand. I mean,
Okay.
that's, you know, we do it with the trustees, it's been millions of dollars that we've given them for water quality projects over the
Great.
years. So it's supposed to be designed for departments to be
Mhm.
able to take advantage of, and it actually puts you in a better position.
Right.
Because then you can get grants from other sources that you might not normally have been able to get.
And
But it's
in,
not
in
only
the
the
areas
water
of, in the areas of Royal and Long Neck, you know, they're very low to water. I mean, you know, I don't know where the water would go, but I'm sure you have it figured out, or, you know,
Right.
there's
There's
probably
no
rain
plan
gardens
place.
involved and
Mhm.
other things that mitigate stormwater
Yeah, it's a
runoff into
downwater
Reeves Bay, which
defender
is a,
streamer that- Yeah,
right, and that's a compromised bay. We're trying to do some work over there, so, you know, we definitely support those projects, but I
Right.
think it would be better served for CPF water quality monies to have that, get that done
but it's,
in a way.
all our drainage projects aren't just about the water quality, it's not just the water that's going directly into the bays. It's also about the roadway systems, the pipes going into the sumps.
Mhm.
There's so many areas where
Yeah,
it's
so
just,
that we can't use CPF for.
no,
Well,
that's
in
my
some
point.
ca- We did at Mill Pond,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
where we had a drainage issue.
Right,
And
right.
for that exact same
Exactly.
reason. So it can be qualified under certain circumstances for that. I don't see where this would not qualify. But, you know, you may be suffering from the fact that the way, they get a lot of applications. So it takes them a long time to get through because they do a real rigorous job of it.
Right.
I
Then it
think-
comes in front of us and we make that decision.
I
In the
think-
long run, it's better for you, I think, because you'll be subject to CPF funding over a long term as a matter of course.
Yeah, I don't think we're saying we
But-
shouldn't do these projects. I just think the funding source ought to come in a different
If
place
we
than
can get
you're
it from
trying to
CPF,
get.
of course, that's 100%. But even like the precast, everything is so expensive. In order to do one job, it's just, you know, it could be $60,000 in precast rings and all that. So it's more than just, you know,
Some
the
of this
projects
stuff was
dealing with.
neglected, so, for years, so.
What's that?
And some of the stuff has been neglected,
Yeah,
infrastructure
and
that's
that's
been
the
neglected.
problem. And that's where,
You know, and I know you're trying to fix it all, but,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes you gotta stretch it out over time, too.
right.
But Dorothy, do you have the numbers?
Wait, Dorothy, if, again, Mark, while you're still on there, Charlie called me yesterday, Charlie McCardle's highway superintendent, and he asked me to walk on a project for Noyak Road.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's $5+ million as a capital project
Mhm.
walk on, and I just thought, you know, at this particular time in our budget process, it was late for that, and it would throw our capital budgeting
Mhm.
off considerably. So, you know, I didn't walk that on, and with this one, had I, you know, we would be asking for an additional, I think, $6+ million in our
Right.
capital budget.
And that's to,
You know,
to
and so
repair
we're trying to,
Noack
you know,
Road, right. No, I
we have to
understand
sharpen
that.
the pencil on the budget, and, yeah.
So Mark, when did you start your conversations with CPF on this?
It's-
It wasn't Thursday. like
No,
you've
no,
been
this
doing
is
for a
probably
while.
close, almost a year now. You know, we've been going back and forth trying to figure stuff out. Maybe a little less, but we've been talking with Jackie a lot, and she's been helpful, you know, giving us to the right people, and even trying to go for the county money. But it takes so long, and like, you know, we want to take care of things now.
Do you have
Okay.
a plan on what's the priority and which projects you want to go for in sort
Well,
of.
Lighthouse
order.
right now would be the
Yeah,
priority
all right.
right now, and then we'd go to
So
Royal.
that's part of the working things out with CPF.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
she's aware of
I
that.
liaise to CPF, I'm certainly happy to talk to you. We'll see her this afternoon, as a
Okay.
matter of fact.
She has both projects, she has all the information, you know.
Because once you get in that queue and you start, then
Mhm.
you've got, you know, you can plan for the future because
Right.
you know you're gonna have different funding sources, some from the town.
Right.
I personally think for these kinds of projects, more from CPF, because that's really why the CPF Water Quality Board was
Okay.
put in place, is to serve our community by trying to protect our waters. And as you said, it is a project, clean water
Mhm.
project. So it should be subject to, and you applied for the grant with the county, and they said no. If you reapply with CPF grant, they may say yes. You know, it's that kind of finesse that needs to happen, but I'm certainly happy to talk to Jackie and get that straightened out, because I think in the long run, in the long term, it's going to
Right.
serve your department better.
But in the long term then too, what's gonna suffer is the roadway system.
Yeah.
That's not around the waters, and that's really urgent to us.
I get
And that's
that.
where we need some more help and more funding.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
All right, Mark, let's take a seat for a second. Let's hear from Dorothy. So Dorothy,
So
we're
for
gonna look at what we had budgeted in the past for drainage
So
and
for,
how much is available in
well,
reserves.
for 2023, we budgeted $350,000.
350?
Correct. Now, remember, like I said, capital spending happens throughout the year, and it doesn't closes at the end of the year. It's a multi-year project. So we won't know what's the available balance to roll, for 2024 until the end of the year, when they pay all the bills, when the highway department.
What do we have in that account right now?
I don't know we budgeted 350. I'm not sure right now. There's nothing, okay, so I'm not sure
All right.
it's,
So we had,
and we,
in 2023, this year, we had budgeted 350,000 for
Correct.
drainage.
mhm,
And then in '24, in the proposed budget, there's 400,000.
correct, we put 400,000, correct.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I didn't go up that much is because I knew that the available is CPF funds, and if we can get them from that source, it almost, you have the non-CPF money plus, it could be much greater amount of CPF
Well, we also
money.
remember, we also take into consideration all the other departments and borrowing and, the projects for everybody else, not just the highway
Well,
department.
and also on that, so, in a typical year, we're retiring debt, but we're also adding new debt, and so the typical borrowing usually is around 13 million or 15 million.
Correct, this
I think
year.
it was 15, but we had the debt reduction policy.
Correct, we were gonna do
knocked it to
15 million,
13.
it was 13,050,000 because of the debt reduction.
Right, and
Correct.
so then, in the following year, basically, the principal and interest kick in, and that's gonna have to be collected in taxes to pay that principal and interest.
Correct, yes.
So, the current capital budget, without any of these additions to it, I think it was like 18 million.
It's almost $19 million.
I had, I think, 50 million in requests. And
Well-
that does not include the Sagaponic ECD, did it?
Correct. The borrowing that we
Bridgehampton.
have right now in the preliminary budget is for $18,850,000.
So almost 19
And
million.
it does not include the borrowing that we're gonna be doing it's 21 million for Bridgehampton and Sagaponic.
So it's already 3 to 4 million more than we typically borrow.
Right. I mean,
And
it may be
that's-
less if remember, depending on how we finish out the year, we always use the debt reduction policy
Well, we
to
don't know
lower.
yet.
Correct.
until
We don't know
April
how
next
that's gonna
year
happen.
If we're gonna have anything to apply in that debt reduction. Hopefully, we do.
Well, we usually do. I don't know how much, but
We usually do.
Correct, but
you
I don't know at this
It depends on
moment.
mortgage tax revenues.
Correct.
It depends on interest we've received, what expenses we didn't predict.
absolutely.
So I'm not gonna assume that there's gonna be this, unanticipated surplus that's gonna greatly reduce this number. But what I was gonna say is, so you're going from $13 million in borrowing this year to
Almost 19.
already $19 million
Correct.
at likely are gonna be higher interest rates, because that's what's happened, it's
Right,
happening in the
when-
world.
Correct.
And that is gonna impact the following budget. The 2025 budget is gonna have to collect the money, and you're putting pressure on the next board to stay within the cap. So I'm just saying that we had, I think, $50 million in requests, I knocked it down to about 19 million, which is more than I wanted. They were great projects.
I mean, we have more in capital project. 19 million is just what we bonding. Remember, some of it is,
Pay as
we
you
did
go.
little fund balance appropriations, yes.
Yeah, and
So-
highway has money in pay-as-you-go too. We put money in.
We do, but we usually give them, yes, we gave them $500,000 instead of borrowing for the road improvements, yes. We started that doing last year.
But is it fair to say that if a multi-year project that's CPF funded really offsets the bottom line cost of that project? Because there's no borrowing, there's no debt service, or there's
Absolutely.
less borrowing, less
Absolutely.
debt service.
And I think, I mean, I have to look, but I think there's still money this year in 2023 from water quality.
Yes,
But
there is.
I'm not sure, what else was presented to the board and what's
Yeah, I
going to be
haven't seen
awarded.
that, so I'll talk to
Did
Jackie,
we-
but it seems to me that would be, it would create overall savings that we're trying to
Absolutely.
realize.
Absolutely.
Significant.
But like, and Mark did say that they did apply. I'm not sure where we are in the process, so.
Right. Did we increase, or what did we do with highway pay-as-you-go? Was it about the level?
Oh, I have it again, in my folder. I believe we gave them for, the pay-as-you-go for the roads was 500,000. We started that last year. And then we put, I think in vehicles, but I'm not sure. I mean, I would have to really look.
'Cause
But
I-
we do
I remember
put in
making
pay-as-you-go.
increases to the
Absolutely.
highway department.
Correct, we do go and, we gave pay-as-you-go in everybody, in general fund for purchase of equipment and vehicles, in highway, in E911, water district, we did that. I
Right.
don't have the numbers in front of me because I didn't bring it, but I can look it up and I can let you know.
Right, and it's not impossible next year to change the capital program and do a second bond offer.
Correct, we typically would do bond resolutions when the budget is adopted, probably in January, when we write all the bond resolutions. Now, we don't go for borrowing until, until we know how much we can apply for the from the debt reduction policy. So I would say June, May, June. We can absolutely amend the budget at any time and request
'cause-
another bond resolution.
Because this money that's being requested here, an additional $900,000 or so, yeah, I'm pretty confident they're gonna get that from CPF, personally.
What happens if we can't get that money from CPF? Then we're,
Then you have to amend the
Then we would
bond.
have to, in 2024, present it to the board again to amend the capital
we're
budget.
able to.
And, I mean, you
You-
can
you
always
have-
amend the capital budget as
go
long as
either
the
way.
board votes in
Is there a
favor of
There's
it.
no
cost?
halt, there's no
Yes.
halt.
And
Okay.
there's costs associated with doing the bond.
We knew that.
Um,
But I think, John, one of the reasons I even brought this up, and the CPF is great and everything, but when one of our department heads goes to them and has a project they like to be taken care of, they should take that under their arm and say, come on, let's get this done. And rather than giving up all these, for these other projects, something like this should have been taken care of for this round. And I hope that the next board can get that done.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, I
we're
don't
gonna fall,
dis-
excuse me one second. We fell way behind with the last administration. These guys are doing a great job to catch up, no question about it. And now we're gonna start to stall because we're not gonna give them the funds that they need. Everything's getting so expensive, you can't do 3 projects a year. They're doing 1 and that's it, and then they're sitting on their hands waiting for money for the next year. So at some point, we're gonna have to jump the hurdle here and get them caught up on the projects that they've been looking to do for a couple of years.
No disagreement with that at all. I think, I need to know more about
But
this.
you
I
also have
think
to
that could be
remember, and
peeled
I'm
out
not,
early in, by
Yeah,
the committee
we
and the
can
board.
take things out of order, so.
There's
we'll have
no
to see what that
requirement to
is.
wait till June for CPF funding. The board can authorize an allocation in January, February for this
the
project.
water
And it
quality
may
can
be
be
partial, and it may be-
right, at any
may,
point.
it's
There's
as
been
long as
some-
they-
combination.
There is some, this year's water quality funds were largely used. And, there may be some money left over.
I believe there are.
I believe
There are
is. That's what I
still
need to
money
talk
left
to Jack
over,
with, yeah.
but I don't know what has been already, awarded.
So it's possible things
And
can
that-
even be done this year, or some of it can be put into that project.
Well, it's the multi-year projects, so that's the difficult part, because you have to basically encumber those funds, because you know what it's going to spend, but quite often, the application comes back with an increase to the original application, and that's a little hard to manage that way. So You know, but costs increase over time. It's hard to anticipate that in a 1 year, you know, first year application for a 5-year project, you know.
I
But
wanna
they
make it
do-
clear,
but they
too,
do-
Just one second, Dorothy.
They do, I mean, to a point.
And these are worthy projects, and I think
Yeah.
they should get done. And so there's two pots of money, one that will lead to higher property taxes and one that won't. And if it qualifies, the one that won't lead to higher property, and even your boss said I do a good job in managing the money, right? So I want to, if that's if that is a probability, that's the direction we should go. And as a taxpayer, I'm sure you can appreciate that. So, that's all, and, you know, if you don't succeed in getting CPF money, then we can borrow the money.
And ultimately,
Absolutely.
I think it'll be a combination of both, but let's see what the balance can end up being.
So could we, instead of the 900, can you give us a little bit more, just to do a little, you know, the road projects?
So we budgeted
We budgeted 400,000.
Which is 50,000 more. I'll go up another 100 above that. Ricky, you okay with that?
So you're gonna amend the resolution?
We'd have to amend the resolution to 500,000.
I mean, to increase by 100.
Yeah, I get concerned about these baselines, because you're saying these projects haven't been done for years, you're trying to catch up. And then you end up with a budget, and then they go, oh, well, we got $1 million last year, we want $1 million next year. If you push that base up, it can be confusing to future boards, so if you want to push it up to 500,000 from the 350 it was this year, I'll support that.
From the 400.
Well, we did 400.
It's already full.
This
I think
current
the
year is
supervisor is
350.
trying to increase the budget by another 100.
Another 100,000.
Could we do 150? I think that might cover the two projects.
Well, there may be some money left in the budget, but so you want to go from
400 to
400 to 550? When the CPF money's gonna come in, that's,
Well, we're gonna make
Well,
that
you don't
decision,
know
but
that,
there's still
so
other projects that need to get
Work with
done.
what you know.
can we just do 500?
Come on, I got 29 days
I'm
left.
getting
Give me
an extra-
$50,000.
Well, I'm afraid it's gonna repeat itself over and over and over again.
And it probably should for a couple more years, because there's plenty to do.
Nice round number, 500,000.
All right, do 500.
All right, so Ricky's,
25.
Ricky, all right, all right, so
Amend,
Sunday,
At least you're ahead.
all right, so
Yes, thank you.
So Sunday, Rick is making a motion to amend 1377 to add an additional $100,000 rather than.
150.
150.
no,
No,
100,
he's-
100,
You went to
100,
100?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll get you for 50 on the next one.
So cross off the 950 and make it 150,
100.
100 even,
An additional 100,000,
to half a grand.
Total 24 budget of 500,000.
500,000.
Yes.
yes. I'll second the motion to amend. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the motion to approve as amended, I'll second that as well. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So, Rick, you have the next one?
Yep. Town Board Resolution 1378 of 2023, amend the 2024 preliminary capital budget for townwide sidewalks. So this is an additional request for $200,000 for sidewalk.
Who is seconding?
I'll s-
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. We're Dorothy. So I know that I have been increasing the amount of money for sidewalks, because I believe in general in sidewalks, maybe not everywhere. But, so what are we up to? What did we do in 23? Do you have that?
Jacqueline's just getting that because I knew that was going to be the question. She just left. But the original request was for
Because
$500,000.
it used to be like in the budget, it was $50,000.
I think we did 250, but I don't want to, I'm not 100%
I feel like we did, and we
sure.
used some ARPA money too.
Not
sidewalks.
for sidewalks.
Yes.
We
We
did.
were matching, well,
Yeah.
in Noyak.
Yeah.
That wasn't
the
the
state
highway
grant.
sidewalks
No.
project.
Oh, was it
But in the
No,
first
this-
resolve, it's asking to increase by 200,000 to 500,000, so I'm assuming there's 300,000 in it.
Correct. 300,000 is what's right now in the budget.
Yeah, which I believe is a lot more, I think the old budgets had like 50,000 a year in sidewalks, and I
I
used to
mean-
say that's not enough.
When you look at it, this is H128 project, which has been, for like 8 years. We kind of put additional money in that project for additional work.
Increasing costs.
And
is
increases
racing
every
with
year.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think if you go back historically, that line for sidewalks was 50,000.
Absolutely, but then the cost goes up as well, so,
I know.
and,
So what I'm
and
saying is
materials.
I've greatly increased the amount of money for sidewalks. So we're gonna go back into this negotiations, because 300,000 is a pretty good allocation for sidewalks. I know things have gotten more expensive. And, you know, I know East Hampton, they have a sidewalk crew. They do it in-house, which is, you know, something we might wanna think about. It might keep the cost down, but, you know, let's get the numbers, but I might be.
she's gonna tell me,
might be
I
more.
think we either 250 or 300, but I can't right now without looking at this.
Yeah, let's
to
see what
what's the
23
actual
had for
allocation was.
sidewalks.
Okay.
And you might as well look at the next resolution.
Now, this one, there's no CPF money for sidewalks, so this is
No.
one of those places, though there may be,
Unless there's filtration involved.
there have been
Development
county grant
filtration.
monies used for sidewalks, particularly those safe routes to school sidewalks, which is probably pass-through money from the state.
Which we did in Eastport. We used
And-
that money exactly for that.
And those are nice to have matching local grants.
So John, you know, we're getting a big request from your area, you know, for sidewalks,
Where in
for
particular?
the Remsen.
Wait, hang on, Mark,
area.
Dorothy, you have the
Yeah, 'cause
numbers?
we did
300,000.
Eastport all the
No,
way
this
down
is
to
20.
Park.
So in 2023, we did 150,000.
150,000, so I doubled it in '24. That's a pretty big jump.
Right. And there's $3,000 left in that.
That's correct. That is
3,000 left from the
$3,852
150.
left.
So you used 150.
I could have used another 150. Yeah, we just stopped when we had to
So
stop.
I understand that, that would have been 300,000.
So just to give you an idea,
Come up to the mic.
You want to come up?
in Hampton Bay, this has no sidewalk there right now. Just a few months ago, somebody died on that corner crossing from the movie theater over Springville Road. So there is a sidewalk along where the old bank, the restaurant is there. From the tracks south, we want to make a sidewalk all the way down to at least Bay Avenue, so people can walk. I'm in the process of getting more lighting, street lighting done there. That just needs it. There's so many people at night that it's horrific, and that's going to be $150,000 to $200,000 job itself just to run that all the way down.
I bet more than that, but.
Yeah.
And then we
I'm
want.
meeting next week to get the
We
numbers.
want to, on Shinnecock Road.
That's the next
down
one. I
to
was just going to bring that up.
Foster, maybe Lighthouse, I think we disagree as where that sidewalk should go, but heading to the Ponquag Bridge.
Yeah.
So I budgeted 300,000. Rick, you want to get that other 50,000 here?
Did he say 250?
I'll tell you what, I don't know what the rest of the board, I'll go from 300 to 400,000, another 100 grand.
Thank you.
Rick, you okay
Yes,
with that?
I'm fine with that.
Everybody okay with that?
I support it.
But also, I would explore with CPF, particularly on sidewalks that are over drainage systems in particular, if you're putting in filtration for that, those kinds of things, anything to do with water going back into the aquifer in some form or another through runoff,
Yeah.
waste management, in a sense, runoff management, that could qualify.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind.
Talk to, you know, county's got that, Jump Smart, like downtown revitalization monies. Suddenly the county's got money. They got ARPA money, they seem to be flush at the moment.
Okay.
So, you know, actually, I think maybe Susan Von Freddy is still on the downtown committee, but downtown projects, you can make requests. And, you know, we got a pretty good advocate over there. I think it's worth trying.
Okay.
So
but
Mark,
anyway,
if you could too, you know, for the future board, make that list of what you have done over the last couple of years, what your plans are, what the costs are. Let them, explain to them how much it does cost to
Right.
get these things done.
Definitely.
All right?
All right, so Rick
And
is,
over time,
Rick,
because
okay.
there's an increased slide.
Right.
Also, yeah.
so we're gonna split the $200,000 increase and make it a $100,000 increase. So Rick's making a motion to amend from 200,000 to 100,000. So the capital would again become 400,000 would be the total. Sandy, you got that?
I need a vote too.
Okay, so there's a motion, I'll second it to amend, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then a motion to approve as amended, which I'll also second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Town Board Resolution 1379 of 2023, amend the 2024 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for the Deputy Superintendent of Highways.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara.
So on that, I know you're gonna love this one, but I think you've seen Mark in action. Dorothy and I sat down, we combined the salaries of appointed and took away all the assistant town attorneys and all the other positions, and Mark fell well below everybody classified in the same section as him. With all the work he does, the fact that he's always on site, that I didn't even know who the last assistant was for 2 years. I mean, he's done a terrific job, and this just gets him up to pretty much the lowest end of the scale, and I think he's well worth the investment.
So it would go to a $92,000
Yes.
salary. Plus benefits.
Okay.
Mark does a good job. And is Jen in this one too?
No. Not me, too.
Just the one?
What are you, moral support? Yeah, okay.
Again, Mark, it's not personal. I turn down everybody. It's really, if the board wants to do it, the board can do it. But, the new board can do it as well. It can be done anytime. But when you're faced with so many requests, a lot of departments came to me asking for raises of individuals, and some in the same capacity. I get it.
And we've seen a lot of those requests, and, those are higher end. I think, the couple you have sitting right there qualified for our housing lottery, just so you guys know. And if we can't pay two people that work very hard in our highway department, they can't make the AMI, and they have to go for affordable housing, there's something wrong. So, this small increase, and it's less than half of what I originally thought after talking to Dorothy. I just brought it up to this level. I think it's a place that he can move forward from here on.
Anyone else on the motion?
Well, again, it's tough, I feel uncomfortable sometimes because I'm even fighting for that because I'm on my way out and I want to leave the next board with what they saw. Even though I just fought for somebody I know personally, I don't know you personally, but I understand the reasoning. This is difficult. This budget is right at the top. It's close and it's difficult, and no one wants to pierce the caps, no one wants to do any of that. I don't see this as a big increase, but I'm going to have to go with the supervisor and what he's suggesting to us. And I don't know what that is yet, but this is very hard to do. It's hard to be put in this
There is a
position.
2.5% increase that they'll get, and an increase in
On top of
longevity.
it.
I don't think you get longevity, though, eh?
I will just say that, to leave this to the next board when everybody on this board pretty much knows this person has worked. The new board has no working history with this individual, so he now has to have a working relationship with the new board in order to ask for that money. And we're not gonna give increases to people that we know and that work hard, but we're gonna take care of term limits before the next board takes it, so. I find it odd.
Jay, you know me, I don't ask for everybody, and I don't, ask for a lot, but this is just one that I've seen him in action. I've talked to him almost every day, and, this is someone who really deserves it.
Well, for me, and for the reasons that I stated earlier, for the number of people who have asked us for raises, I'm going to stick with my position. I didn't support one for my own legislative aid.
I didn't either, and I had 3.
Well, I'm going to react to that because I don't think you should be comparing apples and oranges. We have somebody in a position who needs another person that's been working over a year without that person to help her. So she's been doing 2 jobs for a year. Your aides haven't. So
Well, aides
I
have
just
been
want to make
assisting-
sure. I just,
That's
want
kind
to
of
make
bringing
a
up a
distinction
different
there,
conversation.
you know?
And like I said earlier, I did bring names up, and we didn't want to go that route, so.
My aides have assisted your offices with things.
No, I'm saying everyone works together, that's
We-
my whole point.
We know there's a shortfall there, and you only have one person, so we tried to help where we could.
Yeah, and that's the reason my conscience tells me that that's the vote I have to take.
Do we know, what did the prior deputy make? Did he, I know Deputy Bob was here for a long time. Was it substantially
Yes.
more than Mark is making?
I don't believe so, no, I think Mark was making more than the prior deputy, but I would have to look. Do you want me to
Right,
look
there
at
were
how much he
raises.
was making?
And he was an engineer?
There were immediate raises.
Deputy Bob?
I mean,
Yeah, he
I would
was
have
an
to look
engineer.
He
in
was an engineer.
prior budgets, just to see how much he was making. Actually, we can look into the 2022 budget, because Mark was appointed.
If you still had the paperwork
Yeah.
that we redlined, if you
Right,
could
it would
bring
be on
that
in the
into.
salary
Yeah, so why
chart.
don't we hold off then and take a look at
Yeah, I
at
will,
that?
we'll let you know. Just give me a second.
I mean, Mark's proven himself,
Yeah, this is what makes these things very difficult to
but.
do or not do.
All right, while they get that information, why don't we put that one on hold? And, you saying I can't move on to the next one? Let's see, why not?
What do you know, Janice? You've only been here for how many administrations?
Jim? We can pass over a
No,
resolution.
right,
We do
yeah.
it all the time.
Can we move on to the next resolution?
Yeah.
Then come back and vote on it?
So no problem. Let's go, we're putting a pause on 1379 for a minute. And we'll move to 1380. Christine, what's the question?
You have 2 o'clock planning board, they need the room as soon as
Oh.
possible.
All right, so we gotta hurry along. All right, so, 2023, 1380 adopts the 2024 through 28 capital program and the 2024 capital budget.
Do we have to do that as amended with the changes that we had today? I mean, they're,
I think you do.
No,
Yeah.
you've already amended. You can adopt that one.
okay, okay.
The final, yeah.
I'll second it.
Yeah, we understand that, yeah. Any amendments, yeah, this is,
Okay.
yeah, would be included in this. So here's Dorothy.
Okay, so in 2022, the deputy superintendent of highway was making 76,095.
That was 2022?
Correct. And then Mark came along in 2023.
And what did Mark come in at?
He came at 84,856.
And that was an increase that we had made at the time.
Correct.
Right,
I mean,
right.
when he was appointed, I
Remember.
guess there were changes in salaries and.
Right.
Which is 12 grand, roughly.
Well, I'll say that Mark,
No.
Mark manages 60 people.
Yeah,
and makes
76
less
to
than the
84.
deputy
That's not
assessor
twelve.
and the deputy receiver of taxes.
It's
What?
eight.
I'm sorry. Bad
Um,
math.
That's okay. In 2024, so he would be getting a 2.5% increase anyway.
So he's gonna be making 86,977 before,
Wait,
but I mean,
that's,
you know what I mean?
so it's roughly 9. Okay. You want, I don't know, you might want to table
I was
this?
gonna say that right now.
I mean, we
Or
really
we can vote. I
we
mean-
really can't table.
No.
It
For
has
this?
to be
Okay.
either, because
How about
with
we-
the budget, once the budget
You'll
is
be okay with-
adopted, you
If I
can't.
can pull us off going to 90 rather than 92. It's not a big difference. Well, what do you guys think? You want to do a little something?
Sure. Mark's proven himself. I just, I'm trying to
I
go
didn't
along
wanna-
with
I
you
didn't
on,
want- I didn't want to get into this because so many
people
wanted
have asked
requests.
us.
well, there
And
are
then we would get
extenuating
department
circumstances.
chairs coming to these meetings, and we should schedule 3 hours to have these discussions in
We have
public.
that.
But these are
And it
the
makes it really
resolutions in
hard
front
to
of
do
us.
this,
Done
to
my
budget.
best.
like-
No one's brought it
If this were,
Only they brought it.
The
if
salary
it
comparison, the
may
one
be
I
a
gave you.
problem too, because then it becomes,
For all the,
Mhm.
this is, yes.
are
we
you
do
okay
have
with
it.
a flat 90?
I am.
Yeah, can I see that?
So, for next year, so he would be 84,800.
No, he's gonna be making $86,977
86,900 as of January 1.
first,
86,900.
977.
So, 86,900. Yeah, so if we brought him to 90, it's pretty close. All right?
As opposed to a no, I'll take that.
It's like 3,000 more. All right. Not what you want, but I'll support setting the salary January 1 at 90,000. All right?
Yes.
All right, so Rick is making the motion to amend, I'll second. You guys okay with it?
I am.
You can live with it? Tommy John, you okay with it?
No, I think it's going to cause problems. But because we've talked to so many other people and said, you know, we love you, you do a great job, we're not doing it this year. And so I am okay with it, and the work that you do, you're here in the room right now. However, but because of the myriad of other people who have asked us,
Well, unfortunately, you know, we did we did Paula got a.
that's
So
true.
now we're,
I don't think it's unfortunate. I think that's the resolution that was in front of us.
you know,
And those are the resolutions that got brought forward. And we're required to deal with those.
all right. I don't want to put you in a bad.
No, I'll
Yeah,
support it.
it's-
All right, so we had a motion and a second to amend, all in favor of amending?
Aye.
Aye.
Sunday, you understand the amendment, or Kim?
Yep.
Sorry. All right, a motion to approve as amended, I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Mark, so you'll go up about $3,000 on
Thank you.
top of the 2.5.
So you got a
you'll
little
hit-
bit of everything you asked for.
You'll hit 90. We're splitting the baby today.
Everybody's got a little bit of, it's all compromise.
Okay.
Oh, no, I think we just started.
This
Yeah.
is the opportunity. That's why-
Okay.
We've just started.
So we need to move on then, so
Well, keep saying that.
1380.
So we've had a motion
You
and a
think that's
second on
not-
Yeah, it
that.
was all, yeah,
So
so
still
all,
something
I don't, did I call
else.
them all in favor on the
Aye.
amended
Marginal
resolution?
cost.
Aye, aye,
Aye.
Aye.
okay. So that is unanimous, and then we're moving on to 1340 of 2023, adopting the 2024 to 28 capital program and 2024 capital budget. This would include, Dorothy, the amendments we made today. Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
I approve 1381 of 2023, adopting the 2024 final operating budget.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Any discussion? That's good. And Dorothy, again, thank you so much for all your hard work.
We know, Frank.
I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, abstentions? It's unanimous. The budget is adopted. Okay, so that is the end of the regular agenda. I do want to make a motion to go into executive session on acquisition of personnel.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned for all other purposes. Also have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
All-
Thanks, guys.
Because it just fell.